So, hello everyone. Can you hear me? Let me see if I can hear myself. Not able to hear myself yet for whatever reason. It's kind of strange. Let me see. Okay, well, good. I get the info that you can hear me. I don't know why am I not able to hear myself. That's kind of strange. That's interesting. Okay, now it works. It works. Haha. Yeah. Sometimes there are just a few technical issues that can be sorted out. Yeah, welcome again, everyone, and hello. Welcome to another Saturday live stream. I have to be always careful that I do not say a Saturday evening live stream because from where I am streaming from, it's in the evening. And I know that for some of you, it's not only the evening, but also in the middle of the night somewhere, depending on where you are in the world. And I would like to say, just as every week, hello all around the world, from North Carolina, the United States, from Austria, New Jersey, Rhode Island, London, UK, Netherlands. I always go down the whole list in the chat because I always think it's kind of cool that so many people from all over the world are happily united doing microscopy together. Okay, from Rhode Island, US again, St. Louis, US, Wales, which basically is not so far away from where I am living, England. Okay, audio is good. Thank you very much. Okay, from Finland, from Israel, from Florida, from Switzerland, from London, from Paris. Okay, and there are lots of things here. Okay. Why is there a little crown with number 2 behind the name? Sometimes people who are commenting, when they're commenting very often, then they're getting this little crown sign for people who are very active in the chat. Hello from Georgia. Okay, hi everyone. What am I going to do today? So what you see over here on the side over there, this is the fur of a rabbit. And the slide that basically you're able to see at the top here is a pretty bad quality, fairly cheap plastic slide. And I want to remount it. So basically I want to cut open the slide and transfer the fur onto a good slide, and that's basically what I would like to do today. And because some people also want to see a few live things, some live critters I also have over there. I've just seen yesterday that in one of my water jars there are a couple of ciliates living more or less happily reproducing, and I will just maybe towards the end of the stream I'm also going to show you them to you for a couple of minutes so that we can also see some live critters as well. Okay. But today I want to do again a little bit of how do you say, practical lab work with a little risk. I don't know if it's going to work. Okay, so that's always a little bit part of the, how do you say, part of the format that sometimes I'm simply trying out a few things, not knowing if they work myself. And I just want to show you a little bit. Maybe some of you, over I think 1.5 years ago, I already started doing that. I started doing this 1.5 years ago already. And at that time I bought those, here they are, those... I think only for those 3 or 4 boxes, I only paid 12 euros or so, $12, 12 euros. So pretty cheap, really. These are plastic slides containing plant material, animal material, and so on and so on. However, the quality isn't very good. Okay, which I think is a pity because some of the specimens are actually quite interesting otherwise. But the reason why the quality is a problem is the following. So let's have a look at this here. This is hair of a rabbit. This is the one that we just looked at. Let me focus a little bit maybe. The problem is that essentially the specimen here is just basically taped on a plastic slide. Yeah, so this is a plastic slide, as you can see, quite flexible. So good for children because it cannot break easily, right? But of course, the plastic is not very good for the image quality. And the second problem is they're too small. So as a matter of fact, look, if you just compare this to a regular sized slide here, these are empty ones, which I prepared. So I would like to transfer the specimen here. They're significantly smaller. So actually, I'm not even able to put them directly on my microscope because the microscope clips are not going to hold it, right? So this is a little bit an issue. And for this reason, what I would like to do, and again, I'm not claiming that it's gonna work well, okay? I'm going to try to remove the tape, and I'm going to try to use my tweezers to transfer this onto a regular glass microscope slide, and I would like to make a permanent mount, okay? You've probably, some of you actually might remember this here, yeah? This is I just want to show this to you as well. We're gonna need this as well. This is a coffee warmer. Which I consider very practical and useful. And I have to put the plastic slide on top here to soften the tape and the glue. Okay, otherwise I'm not able to get it off. And even then it's not going to be easy. Okay, so this is a little bit of an experiment what I'm doing today, right? And I hope that maybe of those 8 slides that I have here, maybe a few of them that they're actually going to produce meaningful results. Okay, yeah, I see that some of you have already started to comment here a little bit, especially for those of you if you're new. Please feel free to comment. Also, it's fine if you also make some off-topic comments, but I can only quickly and easily respond to those where you actually indicate this at Microbehunter or at Microbehunter Microscopy or at Oliver, because it's easier for me to find those comments because they're highlighted. Okay, and what I will do is usually I will answer them a little bit later, the off-topic ones. Yeah, so this is a little bit the thing, and we're just gonna try this. And for your info, what I've done here is the following. I simply used a computer program and made those squares here. I printed them out and I glued them on here using some glue. So I kind of prepared them with today's date. And I will be using UPerl and not the PVA glue. The reason why I use UPerl, look, expiry date, look at the expiry date, it still works. 2013 was the expiry date, but yeah, it still works. The reason why I'm using UPerl is because some of those here, it's not only fur, but also some feathers, and they're a little bit greasy and oily from the birds, and also some animals have some slightly of oily and fatty fur. And for this reason, a water-based mounting medium might not work quite well. It might cause bubbles. For this reason, I'm just going to use this here, right? So that's kind of the plan a little bit. Okay, and I'm just going to slowly get started here, and I'm just going to use the waiting time as well, also maybe to read through some of the comments and so on. 80 is a little too hot, I think, so I'm going to turn this down a little bit, maybe to 65 or so, and I'm just going to use this. Oh, it's extremely hot, actually. I just realized this is way too hot. Okay, and I'm just going to use this to soften it, and what I need to do first is the following. I want to first here, yeah, cut a little square here, okay, like this, so it's easier for me to take off the tape from this center here, right? But if I try to lift it directly, I find it kind of difficult, okay, because it's very sticky. But if you warm it up, it actually works better, okay. So that's kind of the strategy, okay. And I'm just gonna move those away here, and yeah. In the meantime, yeah, there's a question here. If I tried to use oil already? No, I did not try to use oil. That would be a possibility, maybe, or maybe some alcohol. The reason why I don't want to use oil so much, even though I also consider that, is because if the whole thing really becomes a lot oily, then I don't know how this is gonna work well with the mounting medium. You see, that's yeah. But yeah, I do agree that we need some kind of a solvent to kind of remove the tape. And I also know that it's probably also heating it up is probably not gonna be the best solution either, because you see that the glue might actually, how do you call it, stick then and melt, yeah. But I do want to show you as well. Let's put this here under the microscope as well, so just that you see a little bit of how it actually looks like, because it is actually pretty yeah, bad. Yeah, so that's a cat here. But if you just look here on the side, you can actually see the bubbles. You can actually see the bubbles of the tape, right? So these are, yeah. So you see this whole bunch of glue here as well, and yeah, and the hair, they don't look quite as good either, because they're surrounded by air. Well, by glue of the tape and also by air. So I'm not getting the best results either, right? So that's kind of the thing. So we're gonna see a little bit how, yeah, if remounting it is gonna be a little bit better or not. Okay, so that's the thing here. Yeah, I also would like to say that I am receiving, of course, also emails and comments. I would like to say thank you very much. Please don't feel offended if I'm not immediately responding to those. Sometimes I'm getting a lot of emails, and sometimes the emails disappear a little bit in the flood of emails. Horse here, it's just one single horse here. Yeah. And we're gonna see if this actually works or not. Okay. So, and if I cut myself, then I'm going to put again some blood under the microscope, just like last week. Yeah. For those of you joined in last week, I actually hurt myself a little bit. But I'm fine. I don't even know where I cut myself now. One of those fingers. So let's start off. I don't know. Let's put some of them over here, and now it's a little bit better. Okay, and we're gonna see how this is gonna. Here, I put them on here. Yeah, and I've got a few more here. And while they are kind of warming up, and while the tape is warming up, I want to show you now how my little new pet animal is doing. Look. Where is it? Oh, it already moved away. Here it is. Here it is. Okay. This is, again, that's the carpet beetle from last week. And I just want to show you something. It's still doing well. It's still alive. It's already moving again. Usually it starts to wake up when you actually shine light on it. And this little carpet beetle is quite cute. I have a weird sense of I know. And look, what I'm doing now is the following. I'm just going to use it again, a little toothpick, and I'm going to try to disturb its back part, and you're going to see how it fans out its bristles as a defense. Just a second. I'm going to disappear for a second now, and then just watch the critter here, the carpet beetle. Yeah, did you see that? How it fanned out its bristles? That's a defensive mechanism, right? For those of you who have not seen it, I don't know. After a couple of minutes, it's going to retract them. And again, let me refocus a bit. Yeah. So it's been alive in my petri dish now for, I don't know, maybe over 2 months now. And I've been feeding it my own fingernails. And if you want to see how I've done this last week's live stream, I've done that. Okay. Yeah. So I just wanted to keep you updated. This little guy is still doing fine. Yeah. And let's go back to the desk view again, and let's see if it's now easier to, I don't know, what does it say here? Cow hair. Let's see if it's easier now to remove the tape. If not, then we have to make it a little bit warmer. Yeah, it's better than before. It's still a little bit, I'm gonna make it a little bit warmer, 10 degrees, because it really should go off very easily. Okay, and in the meantime, I'm just going to have a quick look at some of your comments here. There's a question. Does it only fan out at the back end? What about the ones further up? I didn't try. So, what are we gonna do? We're gonna try. Okay, so it's still fanned out. Okay, I need to maybe refocus again. Those carpet beetles, they eat fur. Okay, so basically they would eat the fur that I've got here. I'm not going to feed that, of course, to the carpet beetle. And usually these are pests, right? If you've got them at home, it's not a good sign, because they actually do damage to carpets and to wool and to your clothing, because they eat that stuff, right? So I'm going to disappear again, and we're going to see if it has also other defense mechanisms. I'm going to try to touch it in front. Yeah, I think even when I touched it in front, it fanned out in the back. It seems to be some kind of a general defense mechanism. And the thing that you see here below, that's the mold. It a couple of weeks ago, it was shedding its skin. And it was molting. Yeah. So, would have called it spiky. Okay. Yeah, so I'm just going to leave it alone now, a little bit in darkness, and let's... look what happened now. It started to actually bend upwards. The plastic started to bend upwards. Maybe I'm able to remove this here now a little bit better. Yes, now it really peels off much more easily. So that's cow here. The question is only, how am I supposed to get it off? I didn't consider that. Okay, so let's put it here. See, I should have probably considered this a little bit better. Maybe. So I'm just going to now get the cow fur slide here. And what I've done now is the following. I'm just going to put it over here. And this is going to be actually a little bit of a tricky thing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tape it on here. And this is a little bit improvised what I'm doing right now. I just want to stabilize it a little bit. You've not seen it. You cannot see it. Here, I've just taped it on here. So I hope that it's easier for me to pick off let's go a little bit further away, to pick off the cow here, from here. And this is now where it's becoming interesting. What I've done here is I've drawn a little template over here. And I was originally thinking that maybe over here on this dot that I'm going to put the mounting medium over here so that it's kind of in the center here. Then I don't know. Or maybe I should put it on here right in the center. And then I have still some space over here maybe for a second, how do you call this label? I don't know. I'm just going to put it into the center. Yeah. And I'm going to be using my round cover glasses here. And I've just seen as well, and that's also a little bit of a pity, that those round cover glasses are not quite as clean as I hoped them to be. So what I need to do is I need to dry wipe them. I'm going to put this a little bit higher. Okay. This cloth is also not the cleanest anymore. So I do have another cleaner one. So, and honestly, this is going to be now really exciting, and I'm really worried that this is not going to work. But if it doesn't work, because I'm not able to get off the hair, then so be it. And we're just not going to be successful. So this U-Pro mounting medium is actually one that's used a lot for insects as well. And I have to really use a very small amount here. It could be a little bit more liquid. And now the fun starts. How am I supposed to get this off? Okay, so I'm going to try to get some of this fur off. I'm going to transfer it into the mounting medium. Even if I have only a few here, it's going to be fine. Okay. Yeah, honestly, there's I think only one of them or two of them in here. But then again, there wasn't a lot in here the first place. Okay, so this is where you need a lot of patience. Alternatively, you might need a toothpick. So, but I think there is at least one of them in here, right? And I'm going to drop on top, I'm going to drop now the cover glass. And here there is a little problem. And the problem is that this actually might push the fur to the side. So I want to drop it on directly like this, hoping that, let's make it larger. Does it focus? Yeah, so you can actually see it spread. Yeah, it's still kind of in the middle. I think there's only one of them that I got here. Can this be? Okay. You're not able to see it on the video. But let's give it a try. So, and let's have a look at the scope view again. Here it is. Yeah. Actually, it's quite interesting because we can see the inner. Let me do this away here. Yeah. By the way, for your info, I'm staying with Bright Field right now. Yeah, because you can actually see that there are the different layers. There is this the outer part, which is bright, and then the central part, which is darker, and there is a bubble over here as well, right? I hope that this one is gonna disappear as it spreads, right? But look, now we can go also way higher with the magnification. Yeah, and you can also see now the surface texture a little bit. Let me see. Let me see. Ah, yeah, okay. This is actually a very nice demonstration. Look, this is actually quite good. It's a little bit unexpected, but this is actually quite instructional. Look, I just want to show you something here. Do you see now, if you look now at the center, you see that it's not quite as dark. It's a little bit brighter. It kind of looks a little bit washed out, right? And that is because of internal reflections. And if I have my microscope has so-called Köhler illumination, it's a so-called a field diaphragm, and which is above the lamp. And look what happens when I close the field diaphragm. Just look at this grayish bright part here in the center right now. And now I'm closing the field diaphragm, closing. And do you see what happens? Yeah, now it's too much, obviously. But if I open it a little bit, yeah, you see that the center becomes nice and dark, right? So this way we're reducing light reflections and stray light. And this is appearing like this is very common when you have a specimen that contains dark areas and bright areas as well, right? Yeah. You see, if I move around here, then this bright area remains. But if I close the field diaphragm just enough, then you see that it actually becomes nice and dark. Okay, I just wanted to demonstrate this to you as well. Yeah, if you close it too much, then of course it becomes like this. Yeah, so this is actually specimen number 1. A little bit, a little bit. How do you say? Only one of them actually. You know what I could do? Just for the interest, just for the fun of it, I'm going to take now. I'm going to take now the rest here. Look what I got here. I'm going to take this here. I'm going to tape it on here. Actually, that's a good idea that I that I kept this space free. I didn't think of this either. Just going to put this on here and let's have a look at this. Okay, how this actually looks, because there might still be some fur left over. Probably a lot of it. Scope view. Okay, let's open it again. That's not correct. I need to open it. Here we go. Yeah. There is actually, I don't see so much fur actually. Maybe there was only, what you see, this mess that you see here, these are just the scratches on the glue. Could it be actually that there was actually only one of them on there? Or maybe, let me go down a little bit with the magnification here. Huh. Yeah. Here we're already at the side here. Well, I think we were quite lucky here. Yeah. Yeah, the hairs are barbed. Yes. Yeah, by the way, insect hair, the insect setae, as they're called, are quite different, and they're also made of a different material. Because human hair is made of a substance called keratin, which is a protein. Yeah? And the insect exoskeleton is made of a substance called chitin. But of course, functions might be similar. So yeah, so this was basically the first one. I'm gonna put this over here. We're gonna see if the next one, a sheep hair. I mean, there is a little bit more already on here. I need to find this here sheep fur. Let's take it here. And let's try it again. Let's see if this, yes, see it goes off much more easily. So again, the difficulty is always kind of hoping that I'm able to get some of this stuff off. I need to also clean the tweezers a little bit. Yeah. And I don't know if I'm able to get something off here as well. I mean, sheep here. I mean, what is this? I mean, this is just regular wool, right? so, so this is gonna be interesting now. Am I able to get some of this stuff off? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I should try to scratch it like this. Yeah. There is some stuff here, indeed. I don't know. Yes, there is maybe a bit here. This is actually, I have to be honest with you guys, this is actually more tedious than I anticipated. Huh? This is more tedious than I anticipated. Let's put a cover glass on top. But then again, you don't need a lot. And stuff like this is a little bit, I mean, you might be wondering, why am I doing this even? Let's put it this way. I consider it still interesting a little bit for reference purposes. If you've got the different fur of different mammals under the microscope, you can see certain differences and similarities. In that sense, I do consider it kind of interesting as well. Look, oh, okay. Okay, this is... try to push it down here. I think this got a little bit off center. Yeah, there is something here on the bottom, further in the bottom. So let's give this one here a try. And again, I need to. One of the tedious things here is I always have to switch back and forth. Here it is. Here it is. Why is this blue? It's still floating. Why did they stain that? That's interesting. So let's have a look. Yep. And that's, by the way, by just by looking at it, you can actually see some differences between natural fibers and the animal fibers, because the animal fur is textured on the surface. You see how it's still spreading, right? But very nicely visible I made the arrow too small. Yeah, is the textured surface that you have. Yeah. Yes, the comment about forensic scientists, definitely. Yep. Also, human hair is quite different. And here, for example, what you do not see so well is this central canal, because many hair, although my hair is, at least the black ones are, it's not so easy to see, but with the white ones that is now you can actually see the central canal quite easily. Yeah. So I do have to be careful, because the mounting medium is not dry yet, and if I go up too much with the magnification, I might be actually get some of the mounting medium on the what do you say, on the objective. I don't want that. Yeah. But this is interesting that it was actually stained. Okay. So let's put the. Yeah. Unfortunately, there is now a little bit of mounting medium also on this. Tape here. Oh, where is this? Just a second. Here we go. Yeah, so let's glue this also on here. Let's see. Let's see if there is still something on here. I think. Yeah. I think you do see the difference now, right? Yeah, that's not so nice looking. I mean, there's still plenty of fur on here, as you can see. Turn it down a little bit. Yeah. And let's compare it to this one over here, if I can find it. Yeah, still some bubbles, but in any case, I hope that the bubbles will disappear, but in any case, significantly better. Yeah. Yeah, so let's move on. Okay, let's see. And of course, I have to wait now a couple of weeks for the mounting medium to completely dry, right? Yeah, therefore I have to store it horizontally. So, and I need to find a good place to put all of those slides, so that yeah, I'm just gonna put them over there. And the next one, look at this. canary feather. Let's try another. Look, this one is totally, oh gosh, I have to be careful. Look, it's totally molten already down here. Oh my gosh. Okay, this one here is a canary feather. This is one feather. Now this should be hopefully easier to extract because it's fairly large. And look, it really goes off easily. Okay. So, again, I need to put a little drop of the mounting medium on here. Should have probably looked at the feather before as well, but it looks very... So, and I need to clean the thing, and let's see if I'm able to get it off without much damage. Careful, careful, careful. Or maybe... Here we go. Okay, won't go off. I need a toothpick. Yep. So I always have to make sure it's completely submerged. Sometimes it helps to add another drop on top. Okay, and by the way, yeah, I've received also an email, several emails, also with comments, and there was one suggestion. Apparently, for horses, they're using this some kind of a material that some kind of a clear substance that you can also put on fingernails to kind of strengthen the hooves and the fingernails if you put it on humans, which might also work as a mounting medium. I did not try that. So again, here we have to make sure that everything is, I drop it directly on the top, hoping that as the mounting medium spreads, it does not push the feather to the side. I'll give it some time. Okay. Okay, there is, from my device, the image is definitely darker than what you would see. It's often a bit too dark. Really, that's interesting. I wonder if this is also just from the desktop view, because in my case, the desktop view and everything and all the microscope view is actually quite fine. Okay. I'm just going to read through some of the comments here. Are you making the new mounts permanent? Yes, they are permanent. So it takes about a month or 6 weeks for the mounting medium to dry, and then basically they should be preserved for a very long time. This is kind of the idea. Okay. Can you use a solvent to dissolve the glue? This is basically a Upril mounting medium, which you can buy. It's not so cheap, but it is the standard mounting medium by folks who are mounting insects. And this one can be diluted with 2 different types of solvents. Number 1, you can use concentrated alcohol. Okay, and the second thing that you can do is you can use something called Upril Essence, which is the actual official solvent. Yeah, but you have to get those mounting media from the company. So are my devices? Yeah, I mean the question is yeah. Okay. Oh, that's a comment by Jesse. Okay, so let's put this here now under the microscope. Okay, I mean, it's like this that every now and then I, of course, do have to adjust, yeah, when I change brightness. So, yeah, so, yeah. And this is now, by the way, folks, I'm now in bright field, okay? So I've got my microscope is capable of DIC, but I did receive an email also by someone who was kind of asking whether the images that you can see on my videos actually represent, under quotation marks, reality, or if these are just the best images. And the idea is I therefore decided, well, why do I not just stay with bright field? So that's the way that actually most people would see it. This is not a nice, well, I mean, that's the feather of a canary, right? Okay, and I don't know which feather, but yeah, we are able to see, it's not the nicest one because it's kind of a little bit, how do you say, messed up, but what you are able to see, and that's maybe the thing that I really want to show you, you can actually also see it in chicken feathers. Pretty much any bird feathers have those. Do you see those little tiny little things that these are kind of little hooks, right? And they actually make sure that the individual barbs of the, I think called barbs of the feather, they kind of interlink with each other to make it airtight. And so those tiny hooks actually are very important for the stability of the feather, but because everything is kind of messed up here, you don't see it so nicely, but usually those tiny little hooks should ensure that all of those barbs are basically, or barbules are basically in parallel. Yeah. So again, a little bit dark. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna flip in the condenser again. Maybe this. Yeah, of course. Yeah, you need a little bit more light. Here this is much better. But now you see that some of the areas are a little bit overexposed. Okay. And for your info, if you want to observe feathers, and if you just want to do a quick mount and no permanent mount, then I suggest that you're using just regular cooking or vegetable oil as a mounting medium and not water. The reason is that those feathers are fatty, greasy. I mean, obviously the birds, they need that against protection against rain and when they're swimming in water and so on. And because they're greasy and fatty, if you add now water as a mounting medium, then you'll get a lot of bubbles and the feathers are going to stick together, and you actually see it nicer if you're using oil. Okay, so that's the how do you say the general recommendation. I do see that there are a couple of off-topic, what about mineral oils? Or you can also use anything that's hydrophobic. I mean, I've just used. You can also use the oil for oil immersion. So sometimes people use that as well. The yellow thing you don't really see so much. Honestly, you don't notice that. Yeah, that basically vegetable oil, cooking oil, olive oil even, which has a color. You don't see that. Yeah, and you're only using it anyway to make a short temporary mount. Yeah? So I shall move on. Okay, but just try it out. Try to take a small piece of a chicken feather or any feather and mount it in water, and you're gonna see it's difficult in water because of the hydrophobic nature of the feather. And so let's move on. Look, the slide is already starting to melt away on me here. Horsehair, horse fur, only one here. Can you see this? It's only one. They only gave me one. How is this possible? Okay, let's carefully. Yeah, I tell you what the problem is because it kind of bent upwards. Yeah. I don't know. This is going to be a challenge now. I'm going to try again to maybe tape it down a little bit so that the tape is okay. Here we go. This is going to be also interesting to pull it off. There's one hair they've given me. Yeah, I know. I just read briefly that somebody actually commented on how are they actually making those slides. I don't know, honestly. There must be some kind of a lab somewhere. But I mean, there are obviously also much better quality slides. The reason why I bought this one here, this slide set, is for the simple single reason that it was very cheap. See, I have a problem getting it off. I better not lose it. Here it is, on the tip. See if I can actually put it in here. Here we go. Got it. Very happy. You push it in. And again, yet again, a cover glass. Today's live stream is a little bit, how do you say, repetitive, I know. But honestly, I wanted to do this anyway already for a long time. And then I said, well, why not do it during a live stream? So I'm just wiping the cover glass again. And let's see if I'm dropping it again on top here. Yeah, I can already see that the mounting medium is already a little bit very viscous. So normally, yeah, maybe I have to dilute it down again, but it still works. We can actually also try to carefully press against it. Again, you always got to be a little bit careful with fresh mounting medium. Yeah, it's not quite in the center, but who cares? It's just, yeah, who cares? It's just that it's got to be preserved. Let's put it again under the microscope. And let's see. Oh, yeah. Here it is. Ah, it's too dark again. What a pity. Let's turn it up very brightly. Yeah, so basically, yeah, here it's better. See? Yeah. What's the purpose of displaying the mounting medium on the slide? Ah, that's a good point. Okay. Basically, why do you, so I've written down U-Pearl mounting medium. I will tell you why I'm doing that. Most microscope slides don't do that. And I personally, consider it a little bit always of a pity, because I was sometimes with commercial slides, I just want to know what mounting medium did they use. Sometimes it is useful information because of the so-called refractive index. For me, it is simply, I put it down there simply for the sake of completion. In other words, I just want to have maximum information on it. Sometimes, I'm missing this information a little bit, because especially with historic microscope slides, I'd like to know how did they actually prepare it, right? And so this is indeed some information that I simply would like to have, and also for future reference. That's the only reason. Yeah. So I'm going to quickly go up with, so that's now the highest, I've got a 60 times. Yeah. And yeah, here we go. And I just also wanted to just, look here. Yeah. Here it's a little bit ripped apart. But look a little bit of what I'm doing, because I just want to demonstrate this. Some of you might already know this, but my 60 times objective has a so-called a correction collar on it, which allows me to adjust for the cover glass thickness. And you can actually see when, as I turn this, there is some small changes, and I can adjust the resolution with that as well. Yeah. So for highly if I really need the maximum resolution, I have to adjust the scale over here with the cover glass thickness and so on. Yeah. For all practical purposes, it doesn't make a huge difference. Yeah. Just so yeah, that is basically some horse fur. And one of the things that I have also tried to do with my own hair being black, it is possible also to bleach it a little bit with hydrogen peroxide, which makes certain things easier to see. Because look, this one is actually too dark. You don't see any surface details. Yeah. So yeah. So this is yeah. And very briefly again, for those of you who were just wondering about my comment, this was the question. Yeah, put on here the horse fur. Of course, what it is, obviously, the mounting medium, and then of course today's date. And there is no space over here for another sticker. And my suggestion would be to put down your name or some additional information. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you complained that there is no information about who prepared the slide. Ha! Yes, I get it. Yeah, that's maybe something I'm going to add a label over here. Honestly, I don't know if these slides, who knows? I mean, maybe in 200 years, somebody's going to pull out find those slides, and then they're going to be sold for an incredibly large amount of money. I don't know. Yeah, so... My friend on Discord is requesting rabbit fur next, please, because she has rabbits. Did I not do the rabbits already? Sheep fur, cow fur, canary, sheep fur. No, I didn't do the rabbits yet. Okay, so you know what? Then I shall do the rabbits. Look, I've got over here the peacock feather. Okay, and there are still two more slides here. Okay. There is a cat and rabbit. Let's put them also on here to warm them up. So here. To soften the glue. You see, that's kind of pointless if when the slides actually bend upwards, because then it's not warmed up anymore. Yeah, but I just need to soften it a little bit. The glue. I don't know if the rabbit. There is a little bit more rabbit here fur on here as well. So let's here we go with a rabbit. Here it is. Okay, and as I'm warming up the slides, let's go through. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, these specimens are, let's put it this way, generally easy specimens because normally when you are looking at cells or other let's say microorganisms and so on, because there's a lot of water there, right? And if you have to dry, if you want to make a permanent mount, you have to dry them, and this actually causes sometimes shrinkage or deformation. And in this case, fur and feathers are pretty easy specimens because they are dry by nature, and when you dry them, they're already dry. They don't deform and they keep their structure. Yeah. These slides look like if they would be made for children, and I think so too. I can actually show you one of those boxes. I think there were 3 or 4 boxes. Again, extremely cheap because I think the whole set only was around 12 euros. And some of the specimens are very difficult to remove. Yeah, very fragile. And here, look. Yeah, professional type. No, they're not. Okay. Colored labels enable for an easy classification. Classification is the wrong word to use, but doesn't matter. Yeah, made in China. Yeah, doesn't matter. In China, you can also get some pretty good slides. So that says nothing. I kind of just find it funny that they call it professional, because what does this mean? So it's good for kids. Right, but and for us or for me, I consider the specimens interesting. Some of them, I mean, otherwise I wouldn't have access to, I don't know, horsehair or whatever. But you'd have to remount them. So, and let's carefully peel it off, and let's hope for the best that I'm able to get at least some of those rabbit fur under the microscope. And I'm going to use this tape again to kind of stabilize this here. So this is going to be again a challenge because the fur looks so fine that it seems to stick very well to the tape. Okay, so this might be a difficult one again. I'm kind of worried. Okay, and again a small drop. Of course, there are also much faster drying mounting media around. However, if the mounting medium dries too quickly, then there is not enough time for it to soak into the specimen, and this can sometimes be also a disadvantage. So let's go for it. For this one over here, I have no idea. I'm gonna try the toothpick now. It's a fresh toothpick. I mean, luckily fur is pretty resilient and stable, so scratching it like this doesn't. Probably I'm also scratching some glue off. So, and let's see if I'm able to grab some of this stuff here. I don't know. This is gonna be. It looks very difficult. I got something, not a lot. Just gonna dip it in here and then I have to wipe it. Let me see, did I get something? No. Let's see. I think there is something on here. Yes, I got something. So I'm gonna wipe it again. I'm going to use a little bit of alcohol to clean off the tip here. Let's see if I'm able to get a little bit more. I mean, then on the other hand, who cares if I got some more. Who cares if there's a little bit left on the tape, because I'll be just gluing the tape on it as well. So Yeah. So number one. Number two, again, the cover glass, which I'm going to quickly dry wipe. Can you show the difference between the original slide and the edited one? Yes, I will do that. Okay. So just a second. Because what I'm going to do is so this one is the better one, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take the old one, the original one, which still contains some rabbit hair, right? And I'm just going to tape it around here, so you can actually see the difference in quality. Okay, because there is actually just a second, and then I'm going to show you both. I have to just make sure that there is no mounting medium on top here, and just pressed flat. So this one is okay. So not a lot, but enough, right? Most of it is still on here. So I'm just going to show both of them to you again. Scope view, I just check with the time. Oh, already 51 minutes. Okay. So I'm going to go down here. This one here. I need to. This looks actually good. Do you see the actual content? Look at this. Rabbit is nice. Okay. Look here, we can actually see quite a bit of texture. Okay. Look, different thickness. Look, that's interesting. I think cat looks similar to that because the cat also has these internal. So that is that's the good one. Okay. Yeah, some air bubbles again. Doesn't matter. Who cares? Yeah. It's possible, yes, to mount. I'm just reading here with out of my corner of the eye. It's possible to mount with glycerol. Yes, it is possible. However, glycerin or glycerol does not become solid. So therefore, what you use a substance called glycerin gelatin, which does become solid. And the glycerin gelatin is used for very delicate objects that basically shrink very easily. So you use glycerin gelatin, for example, for plant pollen, for algae, and so on, because glycerin gelatin does not completely dry out. It remains semi-solid, like in a gel-like substance. So that's the good one. Okay, so that's rabbit hair, a good one. And I'm going to now over to the original one. Okay, so that is the one now with. With a tape, you see there's still, I was only to get a few of those. And what we're able to see are two things. Number one, I'm going to go up with the magnification here. Number one, you see that the background looks very messy, and that's because of the glue. Okay. So all of this glue, messy stuff in the background, that's the glue, which kind of, And the other thing that you see is that actually the hair itself, the fur itself does not look quite as clean. And the reason is because it's still surrounded by air, by glue and by air. Okay. And that's why the mounting medium is actually important, because it increases also the clarity and the resolution. Yeah. So all of here, let's just use this here. Yeah. I'm just going to turn on again the arrow over here. So all of this mess that you see here in the background, that's glue, right? Because I was kind of scratching it and so on, right? And and each hair sticks to the glue, but is however, there is air on the other side, right? And for this reason, there is a lack of or loss in resolution. Compare it again to this one over here. Yeah, that's the good one again. I have to refocus. Yeah. It looks much nicer, much more clear, right? More brighter, right? Yeah, and that's because of the mounting medium. So yeah, and that's kind of the idea. Can you remove Chinese glue with acetone? You mean, that's a risky one. Okay, the question is you're probably referring to the glue of the microscope slide. I could do that, but I'm a little bit worried about something else. And the thing that I'm worried about is if I use acetone, then I'm going to actually dissolve the plastic. And then, essentially, if I dissolve the plastic, then the dissolved plastic and acetone will mix with the fur. And that can actually also be a problem, right? So the next thing I do have, I've got 3 more that I would like to do. And I'm just going to show you the fall. Peacock, feather, and cat hair. Okay, so let's try to do the peacock first. Oop, now I got this, accidentally got this stuck on the other side. Ah, see, that's the one from before. Okay, let's put this away. So this one, what's this? The peacock feather. Peacock feather, here it is. Let's do the same thing. Ah, you see, the problem is I have to warm it up a little bit. Let's see if I can. Here it is. You see it gone. Yep, here we go. Let's see if the peacock feather actually works. Okay, it seems to be also a slightly easier specimen because of its size. So here we go. Yeah, again, this mounting medium has been expired over, 12 years ago, almost 13 years ago, but it's still okay. So let's give this one here a try. I hope I'm able to get it off without damaging it too much. Here we go. Goes in here. Again, I'm going to push it into the mounting medium a little bit. Sometimes it also works to add a drop on top of it, but that's fine. Again, a cover glass, round or square, does not matter. Yeah, it's just pure aesthetics. The round ones are more expensive, of course. Diluted acetone. Diluted with what? I mean, acetone does dilute a little bit with water. Never tried it. Okay, so yeah, let me see. Curious to know what placing the tape and specimen on top of the U-Pearl. I think I don't know if I can try that. There is still some peacock left over here. The problem is with the U-Pearl, because it contains a solvent, there is the real danger, not danger, I mean, that it actually might dissolve the plastic as well and the glue. And then you don't know how this is going to react. So for long-term stability, this might be an issue. So again, let's go to the scope. And over here. Ooh, let's go down with the magnification a little bit. This looks also pretty nice. I need to open it a little bit more. This is a huge, look at this huge feather. Okay, it's too dark. Oh yeah, here we see it's cut off. Okay, but maybe we can actually go in a little bit more here. I mean, I have to be honest with you. Sometimes I do tend to get a little bit philosophical about these things, but I'm really fascinated by the complexity of nature, right? Yeah, that essentially, yeah. Look at all this, and these are all basically all of those patterns in the anatomy, so-called. Yeah, all of these properties of living things, quite interesting. You can, of course, I could dilute acetone with alcohol, with rubbing alcohol or ethanol. Yeah, I could actually try that. And I know what I've heard, that some people have actually taken old antique. I don't know. I wouldn't do that, but some people have actually taken old microscope slides and dissolved the mounting medium using solvents, and then remounted those. So that is also something that sometimes people have done. I probably wouldn't do that, just for the sake of preserving the original slide. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. So that is basically the feather of a peacock, and the last one is a cat. Okay, and then just checking the time every now and then again. So the desk view. Here they are. I just put everything on the side here. Now I have to find some place on my table. So cat, and here we go again. Yeah, I hope that this is also a little bit easier. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, it's very sticky. Ah, just a second. The peacock feather, I forgot. How am I gonna do that? Let me see. I need some tape. Let me put this on here. And this one over here, this peacock feather still goes on top of this slide here. Okay, here we go. And here, now with the cat, I need to throw away the old toothpicks because they might contain some fur of the other animals. Now, how are we gonna do this? This also looks a little bit challenging here. Let's see if I'm able to see. There could have been a little bit more. Shall I try something? Look, even at the risk that this might not work, okay? So maybe it's not gonna work, but I'm going to try it now anyway, okay? We're just going to take the risk, and if it doesn't work, we've learned something. I need a small container, just a second. Okay, thank you very much. I got again the questions that you asked. So I'm going to now try something, and I would like to try to use alcohol to dissolve the glue here. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, okay? So a little bit of I ran out of it. Here we go. Still some. Here we go. Okay, and I need a pipette. Let's put this away. I need a pipette. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Okay, but we have to try this. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of alcohol on here now. And maybe this is able to dissolve the glue a little bit. Okay. Seems to work, possibly seems to work. Or not. Yes, it does seem to work, look. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Look, actually, it did work. It did dissolve the glue. So I'm not going to do. How am I gonna? Okay. So I'm going to just put it on here as it is. Okay. And I'm just gonna add the drop of U-Pearl mounting medium on top. Okay. Oh yeah. So acetone wasn't even necessary. Just regular alcohol also worked. And the nice thing with U-Pearl is that it does dissolve in alcohol. So it shouldn't be a problem. What is my favorite microbe? I gotta tell you a story. Just the last week, I gave my students in school a little revision to work on, a little test, open book test, and then the word paramecium appeared. And then one of the students said, I don't know what's a paramecium. And I didn't explain it yet what it is, but it appeared in the test. And then I said, now I feel insulted. The paramecium, that's my favorite microbe, and you don't even know what my favorite microbe is. So I have to say that maybe those paramecium is my favorite microbe. I don't know. So this actually worked quite well. Here we go. So that is now cat. Let's have a look. Yeah, Vorticella. And I've seen there were some questions about where can you find Stentor. You gotta go to a pond and you gotta put some water plants under the microscope, and because they are of course growing on a surface, and for this reason you cannot find them just freely floating in water. Okay. Ah, yeah, interesting. But Okay, so that is now a cat, but we've learned something here. Because it doesn't quite look as nice as it could look. Look, Look, that's interesting. Also interesting, it did go off quite easily, but you can still see now here in the background, it doesn't look quite as clean. So evidently, yeah, I took along, not surprisingly, I took along also some of the glue, right? And that's why you will still see this here in the background, because the alcohol must have dissolved some of the glue. So you can actually see, yeah, that essentially I took along a little bit of glue as well. But here it looks better. But I somehow do get the impression, why is this? Why does the cat fur look a little bit blue? Yeah, I'm not using DIC now. Everything is in bright field. So do I get the impression that, I don't know, they stained it maybe? Okay. So that's a little bit the question. So let's go up with the magnification again. This looks kind of slightly bluish, greenish. I don't know. Yeah, here you can actually see the central canal quite nicely. Yeah, of the cat fur. So let me quickly look at the time. I do want to mount something else, a last one. Then I'm going to quickly show you also some of the things that I promised you, some of the ciliates that I promised you. And then I'm going to quickly have a look at some of the questions here. I just need to check. So the last one is, and I think, at least this is what I read somewhere. Look what I got here. No guarantee that I'm correct, but look what I got here. All of you know this, right? And I think I read somewhere that this is the hair of a camel. Okay? Yeah, for shaving yourself, right? I'm going to put this. This has been in use for quite some time now. And I just want to use this here. Yeah, and I'm going to just try to mount this, assuming indeed that it is a camel. I don't know, not a badger. It could be. Honestly, I think I darkly remember that I read when I bought it that it's camel here, but honestly, no guarantee. Okay, so maybe I should make a question mark here. And this one actually is quite easy to do, because all I have to do is I'm going to add a drop here. So, but that would be then how do you say, a little bit of a forensic investigation. If you've got some reference for, then maybe I'm going to indeed make a question mark here, just for the sake of yeah, sake of being correct. Ooh, you're out. It's out of focus. So how am I going to do this? I need some kind of scissors. Where did I put the scissors? Here it is. And I'm just going to cut off a little bit here. And okay. So, yeah, I don't know. Let me see if here, here, at least we are able, I mean, able to see if it's natural. Of course, that's easy to see. Synthetic fibers look very different. Yeah. Especially from clothing and so on. They look very, very, very different. That's easy to see. And so this one here is now, I'm wiping it again, and let's have a look. Yeah, this is pretty thick actually. I didn't quite fully spread. I did not use enough mounting medium here. It's okay. Yeah, just for demonstration purposes. So it goes again under the microscope. It's fairly thick, obviously. So, and the scope is here. Microscope. Where is it? Where is it? Is this one? Yes, this could be it. Let's turn it down. Ooh, it's really thick. Okay. Yeah, probably looks a little bit messier due to, I don't know, due to months of use. Ah, but look here, you can also see a little bit the central canal. Ah, yeah. Here we go again. Yeah. Okay. This is a humpback pattern. Okay. Okay. So I'm just reading a little bit the comments here. Up. Let me see if this. Let me turn off the arrow. Here. Let's go down with the magnification a little bit to get a better overview. Actually, looks quite nice. Yeah. Yeah. See over here. This is where the mounting medium stops. Ah, yeah. And here again, much thicker central canal. I kind of wonder, I don't know, I'm just guessing right now because I've been using this for quite some time for shaving. I wonder whether maybe not over the time, some soap or some other material actually was able to enter the hair somehow. And therefore maybe it's so dark in the center. Excuse me, I have to cough now. Okay, now I'm feeling better. Yeah. So that's basically it for this part. I'm quickly, as promised, want to show you a couple of live cells, water live as well. But I just want to show those, at least those of you just joined in. Just want to show you all the slides that I've made. Again, the video is going to be, of course, available for download if you want to. So let me put this away. Here it is. Let's make it a little bit higher. Yeah, and now I have to find a good place to dry it in a way that it's kind of horizontal. And then it goes into my slide box. And probably I'm going to add also some kind of a branding label so that in 300 years, if somebody finds them, somebody's going to be really happy because then they're going to be sold for an incredibly amount of money. Going to make someone rich in the future. No, joking aside, some of the antique microscope slides from the Victorian age are pretty nice, and also quite expensive. Yeah, so that's basically it here. For those of you who joined in, that's still the original here, where there's still some fur left, and we're going to see how this actually works, and I have to just let it dry now for a couple of weeks. Okay. So we now move on a little bit. Okay, so this goes somewhere on the side here. And I just want to show you now the thing here from the water sample, which I discovered yesterday, that I was quite happy. I just have to put this away, just a second. Ooh, the sheet with questions fell down. So, and this is going to be a very short demo. Here, slide, cover glass. I'm going to use the square ones now because the square ones are a bit cheaper. Not that it makes a huge difference, but yeah. And here we go. And I just want to show you, just a second, I need to get the jar. Here we go. Several months ago, some of you might remember, before I dumped everything, I dumped all of my old water samples together. It looks yucky. Look at this. Do you see all the yuck stuff on the top? And I said, oh my gosh, what's going on here? There are, of course, a whole bunch of algae in there as well, but it's the yucky stuff on the surface that's actually quite interesting, kind of. I was kind of worried. It's kind of probably some mold or whatever growing. I said, wow, why is there this stuff growing on top, right? Mold on the surface is not so good. And I put it under the microscope yesterday, and I was actually quite happy to have seen that there is quite a bit of activity going on. So I need to again get a fresh tip. And I'm going to simply do the following. Now I'm going to take a little bit of water from further down here. Okay. Put it on the slide. Here, a little bit of water here on the slide, so that because we need some liquid. And the rest, I'm doing the following, is I'm taking a toothpick. And I'm just going to grab some of the slimy stuff from the surface. Because many of those ciliates, they need a lot of oxygen. and therefore they like to collect and gather on the surface. It's going to go in here right now. This is a lot of stuff. And I hope that we're going to be as lucky as I was yesterday. Yeah. So, and again, cover glass on top. And this now goes under the microscope again. I push it away. I don't want to accidentally tip it over. And where are we? The scope, microscope view again. And let's hope to be able to find a couple of living things here. At least yesterday I was kind of lucky. It's a little bit out of focus. Yep, there is quite a bit of stuff going on here. Let's go up with the magnification. Everything's in bright field. And yep, as you can see here. And don't ask me what this is. Whole bunch of ciliates, bacteria, probably paramecia as well. You know what? Let's add a little bit of color, just for the fun of it. Yeah. And with this video, I just also want to answer a question that somebody asked me. It's a little bit dark, I think. The question is the following: if how common or easy or difficult is it actually to find these things, right? Yeah, is it difficult to find them or easy? And the simple answer is yeah, if the sample is right, they're pretty easy to find, right? So yeah, here is a little bit more going on. Yeah, whizzing around. And what I could do now is maybe I'm going to do this for next week, is to try a so-called an enrichment culture where I add a little bit of food to them so that they will reproduce. Yeah. Yeah. So, and yeah, look, you see lots of stuff here. And something else I want to show you, if you see those tiny little dots here in the background, almost difficult to see. Where are they? Just I need an arrow. Yeah. These here are most likely bacteria. So in order to double check this, I'm going to put in phase contrast. And indeed, you can see in phase contrast, bacteria appear to be dark, yeah, on a brighter background. So all of these things here are bacteria. And why is this relevant? It's relevant because those bacteria are, of course, a food source for the larger ciliates, and therefore they like to reproduce a lot here. Yeah. So that is the, yeah. It's a little bit too bright now, but that is shows a little bit the power of phase contrast. Yeah. It's all those tiny little dots in the background swimming around are bacteria. So just wanted to show that to you as well. Let me go back again to the regular view. It's too bright. Yeah. And usually what I have to do is I have to limit the movement a little bit by adding a little bit of methyl cellulose, which is very viscous and limits the movement. Lots of bacteria here. Yeah. Or I can try to squeeze them in between cover glass and microscope slide, and then they're also easy to see. Usually a lot of very different critters floating around. Of course, if at this high magnification, it's difficult to get an overview. And then they're really moving out very quickly from the field of view. Yep, but they're more or less happy, okay? I think. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to go through a couple of questions that you were asking. Just a second. For the next maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Yeah. And that's actually one of the things where I do want to also say, I mean, there are a lot of microorganisms in here. I mean, we cannot yeah, these are water microbes, but you see that at least the concentration of those is quite high, and I'm not so much concerned about those ciliates here, but there are lots of bacteria in there. So of course you still want to keep general hygienic principles Yeah, so if you have any open skin cuts or so, you probably don't want to touch this type of water. Yeah. Can you go deeper into the sample to see some algae? Okay. You know what I'm gonna do? Yeah. I will. Yes. In principle, yes, because you're asking, and then I'm gonna answer some of the questions. Let's do this quickly. The only problem is how can I go into the sample deeper? Look, I need to clean up the stuff here a little bit. It's been just a request, and my principles are if you're requesting something in a live stream, I'm going to try to fulfill your request as far as I can. Okay. So, let's have a look at some of those algae here. So this means I have to take a long pipette, and I'm going to try to grab some of those, okay? Let's see if this kind of works. Ah, they fell off. Nothing. Difficult to... I got some... No, it's funny. I got some algae, but not in here, but rather on the outside here. Let's put the rest back. Let's take a thing here. So, and yeah, I have to kind of make sure that this is, gotta keep this somehow clean somewhere. Cover glass goes on top. Again, I'm not so sure whether it's gonna be very nice, okay? But that's the whole point. We're gonna try this out. I need to make sure that there's only one cover glass. Very thick. Again, I need a tissue paper to clean off the water drop over here. And let's quickly have a look at this here. Okay, it looks like a very dense network. I don't know what we're able to find here. And usually what you have to do is you have to check multiple times in different places. It looks more like a biofilm. Lots of cyanobacteria. Ah, yeah. So, yeah, all of this green stuff, algae and lots of cyanobacteria, which are also green. And you can see life in a biofilm. Very dense network and tons of bacteria, of course. So this is actually a very active water sample. This is actually very active. Look at this. Now, because of course those algae, cyanobacteria, they're producing organic material, so it's of course a food source. And not surprisingly, you find there where there is food, you find many organisms. Okay. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Okay, so I just wanted to share that with you. I'm quickly going to answer some of your questions now. Some of the questions I already addressed, so I can go through them a little bit faster. Desk view. Here we go again. Oil, yeah, I already mentioned this. Yeah, might work, but the oil and the mounting media might not be compatible. I have Amscope slides and they have some sort of bubbles dust that I can't remove. Do you have any idea on what it could be? I mean, let's put it this way. If the bubbles are inside the mounting medium, basically if the bubbles are in there, there's no way that you can remove them. And it's also not a huge problem, I would say. You can still look at the specimen and sample and just look at those places where you do not see any bubbles. Yeah? So if they are really inside the mounting medium, then it's not possible. Yeah? It has been very difficult to find info on slide mass production manufacturing. Yeah, I also don't know a lot. Yeah, there is. I guess there must be some labs out there that actually do that. Yeah, and selling those. Yeah. I bought a box of 100 mixed slides on eBay from China, not very good quality, but they were cheap and overall taking into account the cost, they're okay. Yeah, honestly, I've got also a whole box of cheap, disposable, almost semi-disposable microscope slides, but still they're okay. I mean, they're not great, and there's lots of dust and dirt sometimes included, but at least you can look at the specimens. And if you really want to have high quality specimens, there is a German company called Lieder. I'm going to write this down. Lieder.de. It's the website, lieder.de. And they're producing high quality microscope slides, also for medical training. And but they're pretty expensive, but they're really top quality. So there's and very rare specimens as well of all sorts of things. So they have a huge catalog. So these are actually the target group. There is more the how do you call it, medical training and so on. But also they've also got some general purpose, so to say, microscope slides as well. Yeah. But if you really want to have a high quality, then Lieder, the German company, is pretty good. And in their website, they even said is if for highly specific ones, you have to order them, and they will actually make them for you. Yeah. But then, of course, it's a question of cost. Yeah. His or her name. Would you actually mean the his or her name for the little? For the little, how do you say, carpet beetle? Spiky, I think we decided to call it. Yeah. The vacuum chamber. I have to laugh. I ordered a vacuum chamber, a cheap one. I could not believe it. It finally arrived. It was made of glass, and I wanted to attach a pump to it. But the problem is, it did not have a hole to connect a vacuum tube. How do you call it? Holes for vacuum pump to it. They forgot the hole. Can you believe it? I sent it back. Yeah. So this is a little bit. For do it yourself ones, it must be very stable. So the plastic containers, while they do work, sometimes they're not stable enough because of the air pressure. They kind of bend. So I ordered this glass one, and it was a disaster. Yeah. It was they forgot to include. It was a design problem. Yeah. Yeah, so that it did fan out. I talked about the acetone. I used alcohol. Okay, that was about the brightness. So most of them I already talked about. Mineral oil. I did that as well. It's the way to preserve bacterial gram stain for long-term viewing. Yeah, stains generally, you can do that, and we've got some slides somewhere as well. You'd have to use a mounting medium that kind of does not react with the gram stain. I don't know which one now, but I mean Crystal Val, it is pretty stable otherwise, but I don't know which mounting medium to use now. You'd probably of course you're gonna heat fix it, and then I would probably you know what? Why not try PVA glue? Where is it? For those of you who, I've bought this here. You can use this glue here also as a mounting medium. It's a water-based glue, and you might want to thin it down a little bit. It's the clear version, not the white glue, but it's a clear version, and it works reasonably well as well. Yeah, so you might also want to try those, and because it is water based, I do not think that it will react with the gram stain. Okay, so let me do the following. I quickly go through the questions again. So yes, you wanted to see the live specimens while I read the questions. Yeah, questions finished. But now I'm going to go through the questions in the chat. Spermatozoa images. That's an interesting one. A slide from the bottom of the jar. Yeah, I think that the bottom of the jar, the algae will look similar, I would say. Yeah. So, but there are no questions right now. If not, then I will. So basically diluting acetone with alcohol. So what I'm going to do, maybe as a last one, why not? I'm going to just try it from the bottom of the jar, also because I have not done that yet. So that is an interesting one as well. So I'm going to take this here because indeed from different parts of the jar, there are different organisms living in there, right? So let me try this again from the very, you know what, I'm going to go down all the way like this. Let's look, let's go very much into the, I don't know if I got a lot. No, I didn't catch any. You have to, you see, if you want to get interesting stuff, you have to get solid material. Here we go. That's enough. So the next thing that you do is once you've got this material, so I went now into the gravel, okay? And the next thing that you have to do is you have to kind of wait. You have to wait for this whole thing to sink down. You have to wait for the algae to sink. And then when they're on the bottom, you kind of press out a little amount. Rest goes back. And I wonder, I don't know, you never know, okay? I don't know if there is a huge difference to that what we've seen before. But you never know, and that's why you always want to give, it's also very thick. Okay, so let's give it a try. Scope, view, and what is this? Oh, this looks like the exoskeleton of a water flea. That's interesting. Oh, indeed. A dead water flea. Yeah, maybe it molted. Could also be. Let's do that. Yep, so that is directly... Oh, is this from an ostracod, maybe the shell? I don't know, not the shell, also the exoskeleton. What's this thing here? Oh, what's this thing that's moving here? Oh, are these the cyanobacteria maybe? Look at this. Yeah, because some cyanobacteria, they are very string-like, but you do not see the individual cells in this long thing here. That's weird. Okay. Okay, there's a request to show us something living microscopic in a week. So what I'll do is I will try to enrich some of those microbes by adding a little bit of food. And then we're going to see how much they have reproduced and multiplied. Look, another ostracod. Oh, yeah, ostracods are also crustaceans. They're also related to the crabs. This here is what you see right now in the center. It looks a little bit like a diatom shells. Okay. Interesting, yeah. No, so evidently, yeah, it does look a little bit different. Huh. Yeah. Again, this is also a weird one. Yeah. So, yeah, I got. There is a question over here, and then I would like to maybe call it a day. Anyone who tried it, can you eternalize a crystal onto a permanent slide? For example, if you know the interaction between the elements like soy sauce versus a medium that would not alter it. Yes, I can tell you something. It is important that if you're using a water-based, let's say soy sauce, which is water-based, or salt, then you have to use a mounting medium which is hydrophobic. And many resin-based mounting media like Uprol and UKIT, there are a whole range of those, are hydrophobic, which you can use. However, one of the things that you cannot use is, for example, this PVA glue. yeah, is water-based, and therefore, if you're using now a solvent to make the crystals that is also water-based, then it's not going to work. Yeah. My suggestion is trial and error. Yeah. And you just make a whole bunch of microscope slides and yeah, then you test it out. Yeah. Yeah. Dry mounting as well. Yes, correct. Okay. That's correct. And I've also done that. That essentially what you do is you make a nice crystal and you put a cover glass on top and you try to fix the cover glass either with some sticky tape on the edges or just apply some glue or nail polish on the side. Yeah. So that is indeed the yeah also a possibility. Dry mounting indeed. That's yeah. So you see that not so cool here. Look here again. This a whole bunch of exoskeleton, which are basically the dead outside part of the water crustaceans. Yeah, so you get the idea. This one over here is one has to be a little bit patient. Sometimes what happens is that the living things, the critters, they actually move to the edge of the cover glass. Oh, here we got a nematode worm. Edge of the because there where there is more oxygen. Again, another ostracod shell. Okay. So, yeah, I think here another nematode worm. Okay. And we go up a little bit with the magnification here. Plenty of other small critters as well. So I think what I would like to, yeah, I mean, crystals, that would be a possibility. I haven't been doing crystals now for at least on the polarized light for some time now as well. Might do that as well in the upcoming weeks. During Christmas, I might again put a pine leaf under the microscope. Yeah, but I think I'm just going to call it a day for today. Yeah, and yeah, I do want to invite you also over to my other channel, which is the Microbehunter main channel. This was the channel where I used to do the live streams. In the other channel, I'm now doing some explainer videos. I'm now doing a series on food safety. Yeah, to kind of not so much microscopy anymore, but more some slightly more theoretical microbiology stuff. In case you're interested, I'd like to invite you over. But in this channel, I will do continue to do hands-on microscopy stuff. Yeah, the more visual stuff, so to say. Yeah, female with an egg, indeed. Oh, a worm here. You can see maybe the egg inside. Yeah, the worm here. I want to just wish you all the best. Okay. Yeah, I hope to see you again next week. And yeah, happy microbe hunting as always. And enjoy microscopy. Bye bye. Have a nice week.